Is the new live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch worth watching? Let's find out. No spoilers. Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past and sometimes present to see if they're good with our modern eyes and Grandma approves. And I'm your host, Isaac, and also cute and fluffy. And I'm here to bring you my review of the new Lilo and Stitch. No spoilers. You might be wondering, well, where's Seth at? He sends his regards. He was not able to make it for this week's episode, so you get a solo episode with just me this week. So thank you for stopping by, for checking in. So excited to be sharing this with you. Just got out of the theaters of this recording and wanted to share with you again, no spoilers. Normally we give you a heads up at this point in time that we're going to be talking about a movie and we're going to go into depth. This is just a quick review. Again, I just got out of the theater. We'll talk about it, share some thoughts, but save it for when you're able to go and see it. Before we do, if you like visiting Grandma's house, you want to show her some love, be sure you smash that subscribe button and voice your comments as well below. We want to hear, are you excited to go and see this movie? And what do you think about Disney making another remake, this time Lilo and Stitch? Well, just a quick summary. Again, this movie is coming out this weekend on May 23rd, and it doesn't have a actual box office yet, so just kind of skimming over. It's got some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Right now, it currently sits at 73%. IMDb has 7.2, and Metacritic is at a 55%. That's just kind of an overview. Being a new movie, being out in the theaters, we typically look at movies that have been out. They're on DVD, they're streaming, all that good stuff. So this is a little bit different as a bonus episode, mostly, not a full episode with me and Seth sharing our thoughts. So to go into my first memories, well, again, this is new, but I can tell you when I saw the trailer for Lilo and Stitch, it was back during the Super Bowl. That was the first really glimpse I saw. And I'm going to be frank, I don't know if I really like these remakes that Disney keeps doing. I see where there's that attraction, there's that interest. Me personally, I have not really been interested in these live action remakes. Essentially what Disney's been doing is just taking their greatest hits and putting a brand new coat of paint on it. That's what it feels like to me. I will say though, when I saw the trailer for this, I got a little excited. I was actually like, this could work. It feels like something that is unique and actually feels real. As much as this is about an alien, this subject that comes to Earth, it actually looked appealing to me. So that was kind of going with the first glimpse of this movie. That's what I thought back on, was that first trailer. So my expectations, well, again, I kind of got excited, but I also wanted to keep them level because I'll be honest, again, going back to some of these remakes that Disney has made, they've just been okay at best. Some have been pretty disappointing, to be honest, but we'll get into that more. I'm going to break it down for you. Before we do that, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Love movies as much as we do? Bring the experience of the big screen to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into classics, blockbusters, or indie gems, they've got something for every film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can get 15% off your order now. Just use code Grandma'sHouse15 at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right, so since this is still in theaters, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our local theater. We're going to get ourselves a ticket, have a seat, and kick back and enjoy the show. So Lilo and Stitch is a remake of the 2002 animated Walt Disney film, and it centers around a girl named Lilo. And what happens is she crosses paths with this alien who she names Stitch. It is Subject 626, created by this mad scientist, Jumbo Jukaba. And he's just destructive. He's this alien that no matter where he goes, he's programmed or created to destroy things. So the premise of this film is just about them growing together, having this destructive alien meet this little girl who wants to fit in. She doesn't have very many friends. That was very much the premise of the 2002 film. This one kind of takes that premise, but I was actually surprised at the plot itself. It follows it very well, but it also changes it. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot. I was actually surprised at that. I was surprised that they went a little bit different. I was expecting them to go scene for scene, so to say, when it came to this film. And I actually enjoyed that. Sometimes when they change it, it's not as good. I actually welcomed a few. It wasn't perfect. I think it, in some parts, I didn't like, but for the most part, I was pleasantly surprised by that. The plot is going to be pretty much following the classic. If you've seen the 2002, you're not going to be too surprised. I wouldn't say it's completely different, but it's not scene for scene, which I appreciate, because if it was a scene for scene movie, I feel like you could just watch the original. So that difference, I would say, with the plot, with certain scenes that they added or did not have, it actually added to it. It made it a little more of its own thing. As much as this is, again, a live action, that's going to be the appeal to a lot of people seeing this film maybe you enjoyed growing up with. Now it's live action. Stitch is animated. The aliens are still animated, but for the most part, it's a live action film. So going to the characters, I think that one was the most interesting. And what I mean by that is, even unlike Lilo and Stitch, the rest were actually a little bit different. It goes back to, I won't go into the specifics, but I was actually a little surprised at that, how different the characters are. And this is a live action. Again, this is not going to be exactly an animated like the characters were, but it definitely switched it up. And I will say there are some characters that aren't from the 2002 film, and there's actually some new characters. So that was actually kind of interesting that they mixed it up. It was different. Again, making it its own film. I have mixed feelings about that, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's a good or a bad thing yet. I'm still thinking about it coming fresh out of the theater. I would say it's a nice mixture, but at times maybe they could have done better. You know, maybe some of them were, I would say you could have used a little bit of more of the source material. That's how I would go with it. But overall, I was pretty pleased with it. There were some familiar faces. The original voice characters, you'll be able to catch that. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it. You'll just be pleasantly surprised if you're paying attention. Some of the characters, again, it goes back to you have some casting that would not be able to be fulfilled. The voice for Jumba, the mad scientist, the actor who played him, David Stiers, unfortunately passed away years ago, so he wouldn't have been able to reprise. Zach Galifianakis, I can always butcher names, so you can rip me in the comments if I said his name there. But I think he did an okay job. I wouldn't say he did a fantastic job. And I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a funny comedian, but it's so hard to replace someone like the original voice actor. That's the one thing I was kind of sad about. It made me kind of reflect back on how much I appreciated that role, that original role in the animated classic. Overall, I think the characters weren't bad. It sounds like I'm on the more negative side, but I wouldn't say it was so much of a bad thing. I just have some mixed feelings about it. And that's going to be a given, right? There's going to be a lot of nostalgia with this movie. If you grew up with this, if you watched it, it's going to have those differences, and maybe you welcome them, maybe you don't. So keep that in mind when you're going into it. The special effects were pretty good. To go into that, to talk about the special effects, the transition between the live action and animated, I will say the beginning is probably the weakest part of this film. If you can get past that and just keep getting into it, let it kind of develop, it really grows on you. It's something that, again, you're going to have that nostalgia. You're going to have some reoccurring, they're taking the same elements. But I will say that's probably the weakest spot, just to be honest. I was not quite as impressed as when it hit the middle to where it hit the end. I think that's really where it gets its stride. It's really at its uniqueness, making it different from that original. So those are kind of the 3 points. I think when you look at the casting, the plot, it's a mixture. And I would say overall, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad, but just something to keep in mind. You almost have to have an open mind. That's what I would probably recommend. You go into this film, just be ready. It's kind of trying to distinguish itself as a separate movie, but it is a remake. It's still basing very heavily off of the 2002 animated film. Well, like I mentioned, there's a few reviews out there, but we don't really have our user reviews. So comment below if you go and see this film. Love to hear what you thought of this movie, but we'll get into now my final thoughts. My final thoughts and review when it comes to Lilo and Stitch, the 2025 film remake. On the rating scale, it is take it home, leave it at grandma's, or hide it in the attic. So for Lilo and Stitch, my personal rating, I'm going to leave this at grandma's. That's not a knock against this movie. I think it's it's a cute movie, one that you're going to enjoy with your kids, bring them along. They're going to laugh a lot. My kids had a really fun time with this. There was a lot of funny lines. Some they've used from the 2002 film, but there were some new ones. There were some new lines, and it was actually clever. I found myself laughing a couple times, actually out loud. That's the strength of this movie. It's just a fun, getting that character Stitch, all the silliness, that's all there. That has not changed at all. If there's one thing that you can count on, it's not going to be changed, is Stitch. It's just like catching up with an old friend. That's what I really enjoyed about this movie. It's just, don't think too hard about it. Just go into it and have fun. Regardless, though, again, I do believe some of the changes, it's a mixed bag. So that's why I'm going to leave it at grandma's house for the rating so far, because, the original is one of those well-regarded ones, and we are looking to cover that. That'll be something Seth and I will cover, and we'll get our thoughts on that one. I'll leave it at that. But overall, if you're wanting to take the kids, you want to take the family, grandma, everyone out, I think you're going to have a good time with this one. I know I did. Overall, though, there's some things I wish they would have done differently. So that's it for the spoiler-free. If you want us to go into more depth later on, me and Seth, comment below as well. Let us know if you want to see a spoiler-filled review. That might be something we consider down the line. So before wrapping up, make sure you follow us on our social platforms. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We also have a newsletter that is linked down below. If you are on our newsletter, you will automatically be entered into our monthly prize, a free poster of your choice. You can get a Lilo and Stitch 2005 remake if you like, or any other movies that's of your fancy. That is a contest that we run each month, and all you got to do is be on our newsletter. We've got all kinds of goodies on there. That's updates. We have recaps of our episodes and so much more. So make sure you sign up for that. And of course, subscribe here on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, so you'll be up to date on our episodes. So that's going to do it now. This was a quick bonus episode, a little bit different than we normally do, but that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.